Alright. Welcome. Just started the stream here. Got descent in about 60 seconds. Down to flight level 270. We are jumping to 2991 today. Of course, I didn't change it, so it still says watch the announcement. Just pop up omelet. There we go. And send the stream here. What is going on here? Share to other apps. Okay. Well, that doesn't look very good. Don't know what's going on there. I'm just going to stop this somehow. Go live. 0. Set flight level 270. Set Mach 79. 78 actually. So I always feed in the vertical. There we go, vertical speed until I get where I want to go. I need about 2,400 feet a minute. So sensitive. And let me just share the broadcast now that I started descending. There we go. And in flight. All right. Here we are. Why did I just get kicked off the server? There we go. Okay. All right. Where are the guys? There we go. There they are. All right. We got 80. Hopefully we'll record my landing and transport, and hopefully 80 will get some screen recordings of Transport Hub and yeah, I got it now, 80. Couldn't share it before for some reason. Remind me to delete that from YouTube. So this one's going to be for transport. I'm just going to add him in our Slack. So let me just take my charts here. So I know I need to be at legged for 270, so the VNAV should have taken over now. Yeah, it's giving me 2245, right? But I started that descent first because when you allow the IFA VNAV to do it for you, it often doesn't. It'll just yank you right down, right? Transport also the descent 0.78, buddy, 0.78. So look, we got. Let me just go back to our briefing in Slack here. Right. So 270 at legged, 13,000 at Tabir, and I believe it's 250. Just double check that. Double check the chart. Fox 4 arrival. So, yep, 13,250 knots. So actually, I'm not going to put in that 250 knots because that's a long way off. So I'm just going to clear that. I'll slow to 250 on my own because that distance, right? That's a pretty big distance. So, yeah, 55 miles to Tabir. Right? That's a long way to go, right? It's a long way to go. And just gotta watch here once we get down to flight level 270. We're gonna want to, oh, look at Florida coastline, baby. We're going to Tampa. So once we get down to flight level 270, we're going to be in the out of the Mach range, right? We'll be looking for 300 knots as per SIMPRIEF. Which are going to be way off on SIMPRIEF anyways, because of the reroute due to thunderstorms over central and north central and northwest Florida, right? So die pay 10,000, enter, right? It's 10 miles from Tabor to die pay, right? So it's going to give us a pretty good yank down, and then we'll be going to Ghuzni and Kbos, right? Ghuzni is 16 miles, and then Kbos, where we got to be 3, so we got about 22 miles. So Kbos needs to be 3,000, 210 knots on the approach chart, max 210, right? And high pad also 3,000 or above, or above 3,000. Bringing that speed back, we'll go to 190. 5 miles. Get the speed back, start configuring. Palm Sea, 6 miles out, 2,000 or above. I got a V app of 140, so I'm going to set 141 here. Most likely I'll be already off of this. Right, threshold, 50 feet. And the VREF, I can't really put it either, because again, it's too much distance. It goes to that waypoint, right? So that takes care of that. Just going to set up my minimums, which were my minimums on the chart here. 0.30 RMP, which is I think what we have. So 442 decision height. If I'm reading that right, I'll have to ask Jay. That should take care of that for in-flight assistant. Oh, I got way behind you guys. I actually slowed down to Mach 0.8, 78. Get back up to 300 knots here. Probably adjust my descent rate now. Interesting. Let's see if it resets. Nope. 2,003 feet per minute, 1996. That's enough to get us there. Now with IFA, or in-flight assistant, I always call it infinite flight assistant, I don't know why, it's just force of habit, I guess. So with IFA, sometimes, like if I have IFA on, right, so if I dump spoilers here, my throttle's going to go up, and it's going to lock the vertical speed, right? The real Airbus should be pitched for speed here. Again, I have to double check with our resident Airbus pilot, but it should be pitched for speed, and if I need the drag to get back onto target, my vertical target, I can put out some spoilers. It won't necessarily slow me down, but it will speed up the descent. Now, if I had put in that speed restriction at Tabir, I would already be doing 250 knots. That is how it is in real life as well. If there's a restriction, it slows you, even if you've got 150, 200 miles, 500 miles to go between waypoints. It does not matter. It will slow you down once it locks into that waypoint is active. So a lot of times what Jay says is you gotta basically... Are we still streaming? going? Let's see. How do I work this thing? Okay, I have it on my phone. Yes. Take a peek outside and look at this view here. I love flying in Florida, especially when the weather's nasty around here. 17.8 from Kbos-Ktpa. Look at that wing flex. That is just gorgeous. They've done such a nice job on this. I never thought I'd be able to fly from Boston to Tampa or anywhere on my iPad. I gotta say, the IFDS team, or whatever they call themselves now, the devs, they have done an outstanding job on this. You know, the third-party apps, John, aka Ipaga on the IFC, just fantastic. Kind of excited for the scenery in South America to come popping out. Hopefully we get some reworks. Of course, if you missed our announcement last night, don't forget, we're going to be adding in code shares next weekend. Real world JetBlue code shares to London Heathrow. For starters, Boston to London Heathrow, 4 flights a day. You get your choice of the 777-200ER, the A380-800, the Boeing 747-400, and then in the fall they'll swap that to a 789 Dreamliner, depending on capacity. So exciting times. And of course the other one is a Dreamliner flight, Boston to Narita, and we will add further JetBlue codeshare destinations in conjunction with those two airlines, for starters, once our full testing is done. I think this week, perhaps even today sometime, maybe on the flight back, I'll do a full sim brief plan. There we go. -16 trim. That just kind of shows you. See that -16 trim? That just kind of shows you. 1,000 to go on my altitude. I know you guys can't hear my infinite flight. Set speed 250. Set speed 250. Flat spoilers extended. Thank you, Skyhawk. Let's get back down to business here. So I probably will do a full sim brief tutorial at some point. Maybe, like I said, maybe even after this flight, if we're going to do the return flight. I'll stream from my phone, and then after I stream from my phone, let me just do this real quick so we don't get any more. We shouldn't get any more banner ads. We'll try to fix that up. For 10,000 at Kbos-Ktpa. A little bit over the speed, plus or minus 5 knots. So the VNav's controlling all this, right? Let's try to get, no, can't quite get Tampa. I can see Tampa Bay there, down the way. Spent a lot of time there in Tampa Bay when I was a kid. Oh, remind me to take a clip of that and send it. So yeah, when I was a kid, I used to fly Delta to Tampa Bay almost every vacation, February and April vacation. Stayed with my aunt in Largo. Awesome times. We used to take the back in the day, you could get in the early to late 90s. My parents would book a ticket, right? Non-stop Boston to, say, Tampa or Orlando. And what would happen was, it was school vacation week, so we'd book the non-stop well early enough that we'd get there. Really can't say a word to this thing. So, the thing would be, the flight, Delta would oversell the flight. And then off you went. Set altitude 4,000. Landing lights. So the flight would be oversold, so Delta would offer up, say, we need 6 people to give up their seats. We'll compensate you with 1 free round-trip ticket anywhere in the 48 continental United States. And then what would happen is they'd put you in first class on the next flight. A lot of times we'd wind up on the Boston to LaGuardia shuttle in first class, getting fed and free drinks from my parents, because I wasn't old enough to drink yet. And then we wind up in LaGuardia, and they'd be sending us LaGuardia to Tampa, or JFK to Tampa, or DC to Tampa, nonstop. And then we just volunteer to get bumped again. So before we even got to Tampa, we'd have a free ticket to go back to Tampa the next year. It was pretty awesome, especially for an av geek like me. But now Delta doesn't do that. They try to buy you off before you even get on the plane. All right, so we're flying the RNAV RMP to 19 left in Tampa. I'm going to plug in the ILS here. Need to keep it coming down. Set altitude 3,000.
Tampa Unicon, JetBlue 80 is on final, runway 19 left. Tampa Unicon, JetBlue 2991 is 21 nautical miles to the northwest at 7,300 feet, inbound for landing, will make straight in for runway 19 left.
Now notice, my speed went up a little bit there. I didn't panic. I'm not stressed. I'm all right. Just gonna zoom in on that there. Notice I keep adjusting my trim so that when I take back over control, take back over control, I'll be all set. I'll give it a quick calibration too. My green dot speed was 218, and actually I'm right on the money for landing weight, to be honest. It was supposed to be 136.6 according to my sim brief here. I don't know how that happened. So under 218, flaps 1. Flaps 1. Right, just going to take the heading, take off nav. Go full manual here.
Tampa Unicon, JetBlue 891 is on final, runway 19 left.
runway's in sight. Set speed 190. Set speed 190. Flaps 2. Okay, I'm descending for 2,000 at gun seat. Or, sorry, high pad. Got a wicked crosswind here. Punching in that speed is always better because it'll bring that autopilot back up for you. Right? Just need to get a calibration. There we go. So 2,000 or above at high pad. Here comes the glide.
Tampa Unicom, JetBlue 80, crossing runway 28. Tampa Unicom, JetBlue 80 is clear of all runways.
Gotta catch that glide slope now. Here it comes. Set speed 145. Set speed 140. Flaps 3. Gear down. See how she balloons a little bit? Flaps full. Flaps full.
Tampa Unicom, JetBlue 891 is clear of all runways.
Now watch my flight path vector, right? Gonna catch the glide now. I'm a little bit low. Never did catch the glide at Pomsey. The altitudes are a little bit off, I think. Ooh. Just make sure I'm not going to drop on calibration, recalibration, right? So now I'm going to back off that trim. Right, back off that trim. Wicked crosswind, 14 knots. Alright, now just watch my flight path vector, okay? Watch where I try to keep it. Right.
1,000.
Carry some more speed because we got 12 knots. Constant trimming. We're trimming for a certain speed. On the money now.
$500. $400.
Landing.
$300. $200.
Manual flight.
$100. $50. $30. $20.
Ah, I floated it.
$10.
So, that flight path vector, right? Applause. Applause. I know you can't hear the applause. Brakes under 100. Coming back out.
Tampa Unicom, JetBlue 2991 is clear of all runways.
Landing lights off. Strobe lights off. Flap 0 degrees. So let's talk about that landing a little bit. So my flight path vector, right? I'm trying to keep that just barely at the very end of the runway without going above the runway, right? That'll give you like a real small descent rate that you can really work with, right? And you just want to hold it there until you land and you're kicking out your crab angle a little bit, right? Again, I will do some full up, just solo mode streams on crosswinds. Right? Looking good. Looking good. Brakes a little bit. Keep it rolling. And to the left. All right. And go in. Ding, ding, ding. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tampa. Thank you for flying JetBlue Airways. We look forward to serving you again in the future. So again, the landing, the flight path vector, you just got to keep it. I'm just going to put on show touches for a second. It annoys me, but I'm going to put on show touches. So when you flare, right, your flight path vector starts coming up. So imagine the runway is dead in front of me, right? And my target zone's here, right? I'm doing my flare, flare, flare. Here comes the flight path vector. I don't want that flight path vector to get to here, right? See the horizon? The flight path vector, if it goes here, up, if it goes here, I don't know if you can see that, but see how I moved it? So, you know, I'm flaring, flaring. Imagine the V is the flight path vector, right? The vector's on the target zone. You know, imagine the two white stripes, right? All right? So it's on the target zone. I start my flare at 50. Start putting my power back. I want it right there, right? I don't want it here, right? I do not want it up there. I want it like right here on the horizon, right? Like right there. That's as high as you want. Any more than that, and you're gonna float that landing. Like I did float it a little bit. I managed to get the applause, but it would have been a greaser, complete greaser. Now in a crosswind like that, you probably want a little bit more of a firmer landing. You want to get that gear down, like in the real world. You'd want to get that gear down. So let's talk to the guys and see what they say about perhaps doing a flight back. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll post this in the Slack. This will be up on the YouTube channel in a little bit. And like I said, if we do the stream on the way back, we'll be all set. So let me just get a screen of my fuel for the JetBlue Pirate, right? Just in case I forget, 14.852. We definitely cut into the reserves. Do an end here. Screen. And here, Jesus, I hope 80 got some, I hope he got some, save. I hope 80 got some screenshots.